Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to Essentially Dacob, the perfume channel. So, today we're going to be reviewing a Louis Vuitton fragrance, relatively newly launched, Dancing Blossom. I hath receiveth a little sample-let. Here you go. What is this? 2 milliliter Extrait de Parfum sample. Yes, she doth have nail polish as well. Dancing Blossom 2 mil Extrait de Parfum. Let's spritz it on. Before we actually do this, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You can also join me on Patreon, superdacob all spelled together on Patreon for extra perks. Thank you to my patrons who have already pledged. On my main channel, I live stream every Saturday. That's where I record these videos as well. And this video is being recorded in front of a live virtual audience. Cue in the audience. Join us every Saturday for the live chats. We get to talk a lot of wonderful things. You guys, hello everybody. Are you ready for Dancing Blossom? I'm gonna spritz it on right now. Okie dokie. It's not smoky. Okay, let me tell you where it's at. So, it is an extrait de parfum, not the eau de parfum that we're used to from Louis Vuitton. And the bottle was designed by Franco Gehry, and I can actually show it to y'all, like, you guys. It's one of those, special bottlets with that stopper that looks like, or the lid that looks like, like a pebble was thrown into mercury, and the mercury just kind of spills at the top of sorts. It could also look like an abstract floral blossom design because, in fact, the perfume is called Dancing Blossom. But I would say it looks more like you're throwing a pebble into water and there's like water droplets all over the place. The bottle is slightly curved to one side more than to the other. There's that asymmetry that Franco Gehry is so famous for. Jacques Cavalier Beltrude is the perfumer behind this fragrance. Release date was 2021, so just a couple of months ago. It was launched in 2021. So now, also typical for Louis, they're kind of keeping all of their notes super simple and minimal. We got May Rose, Tuberose, Osmanthus, and Jasmine Sambac. So it's a white floral for the most part. May Rose is not a white floral, but May Rose also has indoles that are kind of connected to the indoles in the Jasmine grandiflorum. The Sambac, a little bit less so. Jasmine Sambac is a night blooming jasmine. It's a bit less indolic than the day blooming one. Osmanthus is usually can have a buttery slash hair product type of smell, like a more like bougie hair product type of smell. And then of course we got Tuberose, one of the loves of my life. I love my Tuberose fragrances. One of my favorite Tuberose fragrances being Poison or Poison by Christian Dior, the OG. Now, I'm gonna tell you, this thing is very fascinating. It does smell a little bit like the Osmanthus already kind of foresees or forebears the notion of buttery richness, like moist, buttery suppleness added to a bougie, expensive hair product like shampoo or conditioner. It has kind of that smell in there, but it has more depth and warmth than a lot of other Louis Vuitton fragrances I've smelled lately, especially the Extrait range. And what is also fascinating with this one, the Tuberose is really milky. It's good. And there's a subtone or a subtext of Rice Krispies. Not the flavor of Rice Krispies, but the smell of Rice Krispies. And in particular, when you turn the Rice Krispies into that the marshmallow blend with the Rice Krispies, and you kind of put them all together, and then you smell them. There's that buttery, sweetness to it, which is not over sweet until you don't bite it. I'm just talking about smelling it. But when you bite it, different story. Then it becomes overly sweet. This goes into that sweet direction. The floral aspect is really nice. It is almost like a suntan lotion type of smell mixed with jasmine, tuberose. This it's good actually. It's a happy fragrance and it has butteriness. It's not, usually with Louis Vuitton the florals that I've smelled thus far, they have that weird context of they smell kind of cheap. Sorry, they just do. And there's some molecule chemical in there that doesn't deliver all the way through to the dry down. Now, we're going to see how this one dries down as the review goes along, right? But it's fascinating, the smell of this thing. It's simple. It's not something we haven't smelled before, but it is comforting. It is pungent enough. I mean, it is an extrait. You would expect it to have a little bit of heft. It is pungent enough to almost tell you, to warn you, hey, hold it, hold it. You just sprayed me on to your wrist. You can't judge me just yet. I am intense. Give me a couple of minutes. Let me settle down. And then you can smell me again, and then we can see where we go from there. So I'm noticing that the intensity. It is opulent. It is like a Vidal Sassoon hair salon type of bouginess. It's giving me the gives, you guys. I can't wait for this to dry down and settle in because it's a bit of the acidity is going to probably dissipate and go away. I think it's the osmanthus and the jasmine. It gives it that soapy acidity, which will, or that conditioner shampoo acidity smell. It's an interesting tuberose. It's a very very tame tuberose. It is a soft tuberose. It is a tuberose that plays quite harmoniously with the osmanthus, the jasmine, and the may rose. There's probably more stuff in here that they're not listing. Hint of vanilla. A hint of vanilla is in there. There's no darkness in this one. In fact, I mean, the name kind of says it. Dancing Blossom. It's not listen, when we talk about poison, this is a dark tuberose. This is a night blooming tuberose that kind of lures you in a velvety, resinousy land, and it's night, and it's a gorgeous night. Um, Sorry, guys. But Dancing Blossom is daytime. It's daytime. It's fresh. It's full of life. It's a Rice Krispie treat. It's fun. It's bizarre how this is the first from the Louis Vuitton series, and I've reviewed quite a few of them. This is the first one that gives me pop culture vibes. A lot of the other perfumes they have, whether I like them or not, they don't go into that pop. Like this could have been an Andy Warhol perfume. You know what I mean? Like literally pop art. This thing smells of pop art. Um, it's a buttery tuberose. It's not bad. It's happy, and God knows we need some happiness right now in the world we're living in. And this thing really, and mind you, it doesn't have that effervescence that like a lot of Chanel perfumes have. The aldehydes in the opening notes, that bubbliness that Chanel perfumes are so masterful at delivering. This one doesn't have the effervescence. It goes directly into a very comforting and comfortable state of clean, simple, slightly sweet, comforting Rice Krispie treat on tuberose. Like a Rice Krispie treat high on tuberose. And then there's like jasmine and what I perceive hints of vanilla in the dry down. Mm-mm-mm. Dead flowers are the best, Jack says Live in Ferret. Sounds cute, says Louis. It is super cute. Frozen luxury, that's a good question. Um, right. So Saya, yes. Now that costs more because of the bottle slash collection. Is it worth the price? It doesn't cost more just because of the bottle. Obviously, it costs more because of the bottle because Frank Gehry also needs to be paid. He's a very, very famous architect slash designer. But it also costs more because the concentration is higher than the concentrations that we have from the other um, Louis Vuitton fragrances, which is eau de parfum. Most of them are. I don't know if they have any eau de toilettes. I think all of them are eau de parfum. These are extraits, so they're like a higher concentration. We're talking like extract fragrance. So if we're talking extract fragrance, how big is this thing? What do they come in, you guys? Is it 100 ml, 200 ml bottle? I think it's 100 ml bottle. Can anybody see? I can't see here. So if it's a hundred okay, if it's 100 ml bottle, what did you say? 400? Who said 400? Somebody said 400. Do I hear 200? Do I hear five? Oh, Debbie says about 400. Well, what's the price, you guys? It's 100 ml, Tina. Okay, so if it's 100 ml for $400 for a pure perfume, oh, $530. Okay, 100 ml, $530 for extrait. Mm, sounds about right. I'm just I'm just comparing it in my mind to the extraits of Chanel Number 5, of Shalimar extrait. So usually, I mean, you can't really get 100 ml pure perfume of Chanel Number 5. You can go into these extra collector's pieces of 225 ml, 400 or 450 ml, or 400, 225 ml, 450 ml, 900 ml. But there's no 100 ml in production. Like Number 5 goes up to 30 ml in those regular standard sizes. You got, thank you for subscribing, Mary. You got 7.5 ml, 15 ml, 30 ml. Then there's nothing. And then there's 225 ml, and that's like already $2,000 range or whatever. So, but if we were to calculate the price of Chanel Number 5 from 30 ml to 100 ml, it will cost way more than $530. Now, is this as good quality as the extrait of Chanel Number 5? No. But it is cheaper than what Chanel Number 5 would cost in the extrait concentration in 100 ml. And it's also cheaper than what Shalimar would cost in extrait form 100 ml. So in that regard, if we were just to look into luxury perfumery, and if we were just to look into extraits, I would say the price is okay if we compare it to other extraits of other brands. But at the same time, this one is simpler. Not so much thought went into it. It doesn't have the heritage of those other perfumes. Those other perfumes have been on the market for decades and decades and decades, or a century in some cases, right? Chanel Number 5 just celebrated 100 years last year. So this is a new perfume. It's a baby. It still has to find its way. It's probably not going to be one of those perfumes that lives a long life in terms of production. I don't think that this perfume is going to live a long life. It's going to probably get discontinued sooner or later. But it smells really nice. And if you want something that is not groundbreaking, but is just the right amount of floral with hint of sweetness in that Rice Krispie treat moment, and you want that delicate rose, which Jacques Cavalier is famous for. And I keep repeating this always. Jacques Cavalier, he created Classique, the lady fragrance by Gaultier, and he's famous for that special rose molecule that he always uses. That's kind of his signature thing. It's in here as well. it doesn't have the depth and the sophistication that, some of you guys that also watch my channel and we talk about perfumes a lot. It doesn't have that depth and sophistication that we're used to seeing or smelling from, stuff like Ensemble Mythique. Like this thing is also, it opens up with a rose, but then of course it's a completely different perfume. We go into incense, we go into ambergris. Like this thing has depth and heft, and it's a scary one. And we're used to that. Poison by Christian Dior, we're used to kind of those, we're used to enjoying those type of perfumes. So this one, you know this one is more for people that are not really that much into perfume yet. This is more for those people who are beginning their fragrance journey, right? They're kind of learning to get into different notes and different nuances of fragrances, of flowers. It's a simple composition, really. They're giving us literally 4 notes. Sure, there's more notes in there, but they're giving us just 4 notes. Main accords: white, floral, rose, tuberose, fruity, slightly animalic. The only slightly animalic, I mean, maybe there's a musk in here, but it's super synthetic, and there's vanilla. But it's definitely for noses that are not so used to complicated fragrances. Like, for example, if you're into chypres, into really complex chypres like Chanel No. 5, like Aromatics Elixir, um, what else I got? Or even really complex chypres like 31 Rue Cambon, then you're like wine sommeliers, like your perfume sommelier nature is already further developed than this. This is kind of like the basics, good quality basics, but it's kind of entry level of getting your nose used to more complex flavors. Just like when little kids don't drink coffee, obviously, because caffeine is also a drug, but forget about, you can drink decaffeinated coffee, right? Kids don't want coffee. Why? Because it's bitter. Kids also usually don't like spinach. Why? Because for them it's too bitter. It's an acquired like flavor, so it needs time for your olfactive senses to develop the understanding of more complex smells and to start appreciating them, craving them, desiring them, wanting to have them surround you. Because the first time you smell really intense fragrances, usually you're repelled by them. You're like, okay, hold on, this doesn't work. And then bit by bit, you train your nose to find the subtle nuances in the smells and all of these harmonies of the fragrance, because the composition of a fragrance is like music. It's like notes and harmonies and arrangements. That's why we say top notes, mid notes, bottom notes, the silage, the vibration, all of these, the vocabulary that we utilize to describe perfumes is kind of the same vocabulary you would use to describe music. And so same applies to music. It's easier to just listen to pop music than it is to listen to Wagner, or Chopin, or Bertoldi, or Johann Sebastian Bach. Like those compositions require a little bit more, or opera is really a hefty type of musical form. Like you need to appreciate more the aggressive depths and nuances of it to fall in love with it. Same applies for coffee, same applies for bitter flavor, same applies in perfume. So this one, albeit being expensive, is a great beginner's fragrance because it is sophisticated in its quality. Not everybody's going to smell like this. It's going to make you feel clean and expensive, pardon me, and it's never going to test you too much. It's not going to push you in that, like, for example, here I have the biggest challenge for me personally is Jean Patou's Joy. It's a fingerprint magnet on top of it being, the sticker is bubbly. But anyway, so this one has unfortunately been discontinued. Thank you, LVMH, for doing that. By the way, yeah, LVMH, they own Dior. So now they bought Jean Patou. They deleted Joy by Jean Patou. So they gave the name Joy so that they could release a Dior perfume called You guessed it, joy. And they've killed one of the most beautiful indolic jasmines in the world. Yes, this is one of the latest formulations. It's not anymore the OG formula, but still, oof, cha. Pure barnacles drying in the sun on ocean floor, like on a beach, stranded with algae, and it's a poopy indolic barnacle type of smell on me. On some people, it blossoms wonderfully, but it's a challenge. So, like, you want a floral that is challenging, you go for joy. Um, and it's a perfume that I struggle with. I love it to bits. I'm obsessed with it, but it doesn't allow me to enjoy it because it goes into the indolic side way too often, and I struggle, and I have to kind of teach my nose to appreciate the poopiness of it. I mean, and if you're just watching this review and you have no clue about perfume reviews and you're thinking like, what the hell is he talking about? Poop and perfume? How does that go together? Well, believe it or not, poop is full of hormones as well, and there's a certain smell to it, and a lot of famous perfumes in the past also use glands that are in the derriere of certain animals. The civet, for example, which now is synthesized. So don't worry, all you animal lovers out there, no more real civet, at least under IFRA regulations. Within Europe, at least, a real civet is not utilized anymore. But ambergris, which is in here, what do you think is ambergris? It comes out of the stomach of a whale. It floats on the ocean for years and years and years, decades and decades, and then it kind of is found, and it has a very, very indolic smell. Um, all of that depth that you have, it's an acquired taste, it's an acquired flavor. All of that is not present in Dancing Blossom. Dancing Blossom is literally your entry ticket into the expensive world of niche fragrances, and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel fresh. It makes you feel floral. It makes you feel like you paid a lot of money for something basic. Now, there's an elegance and a poetry to that as well. You might, because we usually think, well, if I'm paying a lot of money for something, I want it to be complex. I want it to have depth. But then, does it really have to? Not necessarily. Some beautiful things are also super simple. So, at least the simplicity here, up until now we're in the mid notes, smells like good quality. I have had some issues with quite a few Louis Vuitton fragrances where the dry down, once they hit the dry down, they don't deliver that quality smell that I'm used to from, like, let's say, Chanel fragrances. The dry down in Chanel perfumes is majestic. There's not one single Chanel fragrance, maybe Allure Homme Sport and Egoist Platinum. The latest reformulations are quite cheap, but they're like classic fragrances. There's not one single one of them that dries down to a cheap base. Chanel perfumes always dry down to a beautiful, luscious dry down. Like, they just make you want to dig your nose into your own skin and just enjoy it forever. And that's the bottom line. And usually Louis fragrances don't deliver that. Some do. I really like the dry down in Cactus Garden. This one, we're gonna see. Good night, Trina. Sleep well, darling. Thank you so much. Have a great week to you too, and have a good shift tomorrow morning. Yeah, Blue de Chanel, Jack. It doesn't have a good opening. It smells like, those, alpha male fragrances that we're used to. But the dry down is not bad. In terms of quality, do I like the smell of the dry down on me? No. But that's not because I think the perfume is cheap. That's just because I don't like that combination of ingredients. But I do recognize that the ingredients are well selected and chosen, even in blue. It almost feels like there's a hint of patchouli in there as well. I might be wrong though. Hmm. it's it's definite. You know what it's giving me? It's giving me early spring vibes, like, and this is a difficult concept. Let me try to explain it. You're in your working years, like you're not a teenager anymore, you're not a student anymore. You started work, like, let's say, I don't know what age you're in, but past your 20s, and but you remember your childhood fondly, and you remember breakfast. So it's not like, it doesn't give me vibes of a young kid wearing a perfume. No, it gives me vibes of an adult remembering their childhood. That's what this smells of. It's an adult remembering how it was to sit early in the morning in the kitchen, at the kitchen table, eating their cereal that mom gave them, pouring the cereal into the milk. And there's this beautiful warm hues of light, early spring, filtering through the windows. That golden light that kind of covers the entire kitchen, and everything is like just honey gold, imbued in a honey gold allure. And there is a little bit of dust particles floating around, through those rays of light that are kind of cutting through the kitchen. And you're sitting at the table eating your cereal, and you have the crunchiness of the cereal, Rice Krispies, by the way. um and that beautiful warm sun, early morning sun, is there. And then you're going to get ready to go to school, and you got your toys with you on the table. And it's a memory that you have of this vision, but as an adult remembering the childhood. That's what this smells like. It's an interesting balance between being grown up and being a kid. It's the grown up aware that they're grown ups, but remembering their childhood moments of having that breakfast cereal at the table. Tuberose is from India, you say? I don't know what. No, tuberose doesn't just come. I mean, hold on, I lost my paper. It doesn't just come from India, obviously. But I don't know if this. Are you saying that this particular tuberose was imported from India? Could be. Does it say that on the website? Oh, it says that on the website. Thank you, Tina. Indian tuberose. I wonder. Oh, you had Count Chocula, Devi? Oh, really, Jack? Number 19 also gives you that feeling of being a kid again. Interesting. It doesn't to me at all. To me, number 19 is very grown up. And this, why? Because it's a Chypre. And Chypre is like one of the most challenging olfactive families and fragrances for me, because of their bitterness. Also, they have like a bitterness to them, and just like with coffee, with spinach, it's hard to grasp it. So Chypre to me is like, okay, once you're more mature, you can appreciate the magic of Chypre, but it doesn't take me back to innocence and childhood. This thing does. um, but then it also has that high class smelling hair product like shampoo or conditioner, which is very grown up, and that's the grown up aspect of this perfume. But then there's that delicate sweetness, buttery softness in there that also kind of takes me back to the childhood memories. Very interesting. Jack says, girl, I don't know if I was ever innocent. It's very intense. This thing is going to take a while until it kind of settles down, cools down, starts drying down. And I wonder what is going to be the element in here that smells out the most once it dries down. Are we going to have tuberose smelling the most? Are we going to have that kind of musky vanilla in there smelling the most? Or are we going to have osmanthus? Osmanthus is very dominant right now. Or is jasmine going to take over? Let me. Well, that's Jasmine Sambac. This is Jasmine Grandiflorum. Enjoy. Very two different worlds, you guys. Very, very different. But you know what? When you kind of smell first one and the other really fast and the molecules blend in, oh my God, it's majestic. Hold on, you guys. Mmm. Oh. These two together, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can do this all day. Oh, okay. This is a dream. Wow. First, you gotta smell Dancing Blossom and then Joy. Eau de Parfum. Oh, it's so good. It is. These two blended together give me natural pure flower. It's like jasmine combined with lilies. Oh my God, it's so breathtaking. And I bet it's not going to smell this good if I spray them over each other, if I layer them over each other. I think they only smell this good if you kind of blend them into your nose, smell one and then add the other one on top. It's to die for. Oh, you guys. Okay, well, I mean, now I know it's not everybody's cup of tea to blend and mix perfumes, but I was kind of always curious, about this, like, oh, Jasmine Sambac, Jasmine Grandiflorum, mixing the two. A little bit of tuberose in the mix, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of musk. We got the May tuberose, the May rose, and oh my God, it's so blissful. Yeah, this is really good. Okay, so I'm just gonna maybe from a distance just spray a hint of this on top, but then we're gonna lose the dry down of this one alone. So, oh my God. Hey, Kelly McDaniel just joined watching while waiting for the fireworks at Disneyland. Oh, sweetie, welcome. And we're just experiencing fireworks here with perfumes. It's giving me fireworks. The blend of these two together. So I gotta say, on its own, definitely worth a try. And is it worth the money? Not really. It is overpriced, but it's special in its own delicate way. But then if you're ready to blend it with others, oof, you could create some powerful mesculation mixes here. You look fabulous. Love the nails. Thank you so much, Kelly. Oh, them two together are gorgeous. But also this little baby on its own is masterfully done. Albeit being super simple. So you have that memory of the childhood, but as an adult, rays of sun, early morning, eating Rice Krispies, early spring. Oh, it's nice. It's nice. I mean, it's expensive, but it's really nice. I would recommend it if you don't care for the budget. You know what I mean? If budget is not your issue, then I say this one's worth trying. Not worth a blind purchase though. Like, you really got to try this on your skin before you kind of dive into $530 or whatever it is plus tax for 100 ml or 3.4 ounce bottle of Dancing Blossom. But it is one of the better Vuitton fragrances for me, together with Cactus Garden. Although Cactus Garden I still prefer to this one. I think Cactus Garden is better than this one. Also because this one, requires kind of like some layering, a little bit of trickery and sorcery to make it like pop just that much more. And this is because it's so simple. So you have to add depth to it. And like, is it worth spending that much money if you're going to have to start experimenting and adding your own perfumes to it to make it really work for you? You got to be the judge of that. I mean, I personally would say, no, not worth it. But then again, since I already have Joy, like, it would be just an extra thing that I could like do. Like, I could wear Dancing Blossom on its own, and then on those days when I need a little bit more complexity, I could like add a little spritz of something that I already own that I didn't have to buy extra. You know what I mean? If you have to buy Joy in order to make Dancing Blossom work for you, then no, that's way too much money, because obviously. But if you already have Joy and you want to kind of try them together, Rids1, thank you for subscribing. Man, it's delicious. So anyway, guys, that would be my review of Dancing Blossom. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you have smelled this fragrance, or even if you own it, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, never forget to never give up on love. Subscribe. Bye.